That was so good.
Lord,
Lord, that was so good. Lord have mercy.
Thank you. That was so much fun. I could talk about this stuff all night.
There's
Onita,
so
did
many.
you have any other questions that you wanted to ask that we just didn't get to?
I guess I mean for me, I guess will be more tips or guidance. For instance, if people are out, they do decide to go date. Well, I'm sorry. Let me go back. One of your books you were saying it tied in with the stalker, but I think it applies to if you're dating or you're just out shopping. You mentioned if somebody's sitting in their car watching some, if they're in their car for a long time. And I know sometimes we're out shopping, we're on our phones, we're so distracted.
Yep.
Can you speak to that? How we are out in public, especially when we're by ourselves, and about the distractions and some tips you can give on that.
Yeah, distraction is when they can pounce and they look for people who are distracted. So I would put away the phone unless I know some people like to have someone on the phone. So they feel
Yeah.
like they can say, something's happening or this guy's watching me. Um, carry a whistle, carry a little alarm.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with alarms is if they're battery powered and you don't realize the battery's gone out or you forgot to charge it if it's one of
Yeah.
those. But just a whistle, anything that would get someone's attention. Don't be afraid to ask people for help. Find the mall security guard. Hey, would you
Mm-hmm.
walk me to my car? Same
Yeah.
thing if you work at a big corporation, they've usually got security of an evening. Have someone walk you to your car.
Right.
Another thing that I think is really, really helpful is, again, that idea, don't be afraid to throw a fit. I had a wonderful guest. He taught self-defense, but in a very unique way. He said the big thing is you don't want to get into the fight. It's
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm little. I'm 5'2". I don't care how much judo, taekwondo, anything that I would know, pin my arms down and I'm helpless. So what he teaches people to do is to just go nuts. And he had a seminar where he had taught a scenario about, let's say you're at your bank machine and you're trying to withdraw some money, and there's somebody that doesn't really get your personal space and they're getting a little too close, and you think maybe they're trying to rob me. They said, whip out your cell phone, start pounding on the screen, acting like it's not working. Because
Mm.
what do they want? They want your money, they
Mm-hmm.
want your person, they might want to steal your car or something. But at the bank machine, they're probably looking for money. So act like you're on the phone, you're calling your credit card company, and you're saying, it won't let me withdraw any money. So there he knows, well, I can't get any money from you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And start cussing a blue streak. So you're putting them on notice that you're a little out there and you're not afraid to mix it up with somebody on the phone you've never even met, and just go nuts. And
Mm-hmm.
so he had taught this, and then when people were leaving, he gets an email the next day from one of his students, and she said, I was stopping to get gas on my way home. I should have gotten it before I came to the little class, because by
Mm-hmm.
the time it was over, it was dark.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can help it, don't get gas after dark.
Yes. Yes.
And so she's at this gas station, she's pumping, and she can see out of her peripheral vision these three guys kind of appear out of the shadows.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's thinking, what do I do? What do I do? And she remembered that training scenario. So she whips out her cell phone and acts like she's just going nuts. My card's been declined. It won't let me pump gas. So I'm not going to be able to get very far. So there, if they want her car, she's just trained them that they're not going to get very far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She starts, cussing like a sailor and just screaming. I mean, literally screaming. And she said, I could see them melt back into the shadow. Like,
Never mind.
no part of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, that's something major that you just said again. where people look at that, oh, that's not the norm, right?
Right.
But the fact that getting gas, ladies, let's be cognizant of doing this stuff earlier in the day. We're just setting ourselves up for opportunities, especially around the holidays. I remember one time, and we were living in up north, and it was a very small town kind of feel, but my kids and I were in the mall, not sunset sooner, right? So we not realize it, even though it's 5:30, it felt like midnight. But
Mm-hmm.
even that, like, because they were, you got the oldest, but a couple of little ones were they were in play mode, and they thought I was joking because I grew up, I came from the hood, so I'm always like extra cautious, paying attention. But I knew it was around the holidays, which most people are out there ready to burglarize you. They know we're in these phones, we're not paying attention, but also they thinking they got money because they're out here shopping
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
the holidays, and everybody's in a rush, and nobody's paying attention, nobody's caring about you. But I literally tell them I would grab everything and I go, all right, we're gonna run like crazy, get in the car and lock the doors, like because I'm like, we're gonna get in there. I ain't even worry about you buckling the seatbelt. Run like crazy, get in the car, lock the doors, right? And it's so funny because my daughter says she does it now, and her girlfriends are like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, which I said,
Woman.
here's the thing. She had a practical lesson on that. So we ran like crazy. We got in the car, locked the doors, get home. Tell me why the next day. So we came out one door like a Macy's, but there was a mall entrance, and I don't know why they do this. Their mall entrance was the spooky, like one of these little alcoves that you go down this little. It's kind of dark. There's trees along the side, and nobody really goes in and out that door because you typically come
Because
out the
men are designing these things.
right. You come out the
And
Macy's,
the
you come
crew
out the
then.
Old Navy. You do not, and so I knew that was like that. So I made it a point to go out the Macy's door. It's lit, and I also park. So ladies, always if you're gonna be on the evening, I park by a light, and I try to park close to the
Yeah.
entrance. I will wait, baby. People be like, just get a space. No, no, no. I'm waiting till I'm getting close enough, and I'm in a well lit area.
Yes.
So, but tell me why that next day, that mall alcove where it's dark, it's trees along the side, like somebody can hide behind it. Some guys burglarized a lady coming out. They
Mm.
robbed her at gunpoint,
Yep.
coming out of that spot. And so, all my shopping was done at that point because I, I was like,
You're gonna get what you got, but you ain't getting nothing else.
that, people were so stunned because they were like, oh, that would never happen here. People are losing jobs. They don't have money. They're
Mhm.
burglarizing, but it was the perfect spot to rob somebody else. The mall security, they have a flashlight. They're in the car and they're way on the other side. So
Mhm.
they still hadn't got to her, and nobody could hear her because everybody's in the stores. Nobody's really coming out that entrance. And so
Mhm.
again, like to your point, Lori, do these things early in the day, make plans in time. Even if you're not going to get a full tank of gas, get enough gas to where you're not having to come back out at night to do
Mhm.
that stuff. The same with the ATM. Try to do that stuff in a well lit area and try to do it when it's not nighttime
Yeah.
as well. But be cognizant of
Yeah.
when, like you said, coming out. Come out. Have somebody walk with you if you're coming out of work and it's dark at night. Like, do
Yeah.
not go out alone if you can help it.
That's
Keep
so.
your finger on the panic button on
Mhm.
Oh, for
your key fob,
sure.
Mhm.
and even use that key fob as a home alarm too. Keep it by your bedside if you don't already have an alarm system. And if you
Hmm.
hear somebody coming in or you hear somebody outside, hit that thing, because when they start hearing that crazy sharp noise, they're going to run. They
Yes.
don't want any part of the attention that will bring.
I think that another thing, you just mentioned it, but I just want to highlight it a little bit, is that we get kind of um, just a little bit weird or about asking the guard to walk us to the car or asking someone to walk us to the car. It's just like, no, I got it. I'm fine. No, I don't need, like this almost invincibility sometimes. And it's
Hmm.
just like it doesn't hurt anything for you to ask the
No.
guard. I mean, they don't really get to do a lot. So I'm like
Right.
in the mall,
Right.
the mall shopping guards, they're not really doing a whole lot. So for someone to ask them to actually walk them to the car is actually probably one of the most exciting things they do all day. And so I just think
Yeah.
that we and I'm just as guilty of this, but asking and just saying, yeah, I will wait till oh, I got 20 more minutes. Okay, well, I'll just wait until you're done and we can walk out
Yeah.
together from work or
Mhm.
the store or shopping or whatever. where it's not like well lit. There's, a bunch of people, but I think that's a thing that women, we have a problem with. I mean, partly it's because we got to be like Iron Woman, hear me roar kind of stuff. But then also, I think the other side of that is like, oh, I don't want to be a bother. And
Yeah.
Be a bother.
be a bother. Be a bother.
Yeah. And safety is really, it's a group effort.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you watch any of the nature shows on TV, the zebra doesn't just wade into a big herd of whatever it's after. It looks, it waits, it's stalking, and it sees who has gotten cut off from that herd.
Mm-hmm.
Who can I go after alone? So, always try to be in a group if you can, or ask, that security person to walk me. And I'm going to say something that y'all are going to hate, but hear me out. Stop helping people
Yes. No, I'm with you.
when you're alone.
Okay.
Yes.
Because you can tell them, I will call the police and have the police come help you, because that's what the police get paid for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You don't need, some guys on crutches. Well, that's what Ted Bundy used. So they want to look non-threatening.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be able to get you, again, away from the herd. Can you help me carry this out to my car?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I can't.
Mm-hmm.
They come to your house. Oh, my car broke down. Can I come in and use your phone? Nope. But, and you haven't opened the door yet, so I can't push there with you. You tell them where there's a public phone or a nearby business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you let them go somewhere and get help in public. Don't let them into your house. And be aware that some guys will use children or women as decoys,
Yes.
because it makes you feel safer. I've heard from too many victims who let this woman and this young child in, because the young child needed to use the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly a guy that was standing back there that she didn't even see comes right in with them. And then you feel bad. Oh, well, he's with them. I can't throw him out. And while she's making small talk in the kitchen, he's cleaning out your jewelry box and whatever else he can find.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, stop being so helpful. Point them to resources that can help them.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be the one to do it. My husband and I were on vacation one time, and we love going to like woodsy lake, stream kind of places. And so we were in this, it was a developed area. It was like a little nature preserve kind of thing. So there were parking lots and roads and whatnot, but there weren't a lot of people around. It was during the week. It was kind of secluded. So we're driving around, seeing all the pretty stuff. And we pull up into this parking lot to get a better view of this one lake. And there's a car over there. We're the only two cars. And this woman is digging through the bottom, on the floor of her car, and looking like she's very much in distress. And so, being a nice guy, my husband wants to help her. And I'm like, okay, but here's how we're going to do this. Because I'm the one that is like thinking of all the crazy things she wants to do to harm us. And so I said, don't give her your phone. Because she was saying, I can't see. I think I've dropped my keys on the floor of my car and it's dark and I can't see to find them. I said, don't hand her your phone, but turn on the flashlight and hold it up so she can see. Mm-hmm. I said, I've got the police on speed dial right here, and I will be calling them if this goes south. I'm scanning the wood line to see if she's got accomplices that are going to jump out. And it turned out that she really did need help. And most of the time that's going to be true, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
So what I told her, I said, we're on vacation, not from around here, don't know the best place to refer you to help. I said, so I'm going to call the non-emergency police line, and I'm going to have them send an officer out here, because he's going to know who can help you. Because it turned out she was living in her car, and she did need some help, but she didn't necessarily need me to help her. I just pointed her to who could.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have an off the wall question that has, in a sense, nothing to do with safety, but how did your husband respond when you said, you know what, I'm going to become a private investigator?
Well, we'd been together long enough at that point where he's like, yeah, that would be something you wanted to do. So, he's very supportive, and I tell him, I say, I don't want to be, chasing down the mafia and doing all these crazy, dangerous things, and he
Mhm.
trusts my judgment that I'm not
Mm-hmm.
knowingly going to get myself in a situation
Mm-hmm.
that I can't handle. He knew that I had an excellent mentor who not only was going to teach me very much what I needed to know to do well, but she was going to look after me. And
Yeah.
she had a network of people
Mm-hmm.
that all felt the same way. And there have been cases I've turned down
Mm-hmm.
because I either didn't feel like I had the expertise to do a good job for the client, or because I felt like, okay, this is an area that could get bad real easily.
Okay.
And
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
at the end of the day, it's not worth me getting hurt or worse.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, he's wonderfully supportive, and
Awesome.
I can call him when I'm coming home and say, I've been on surveillance for 12 hours. I'm starving. Can you start some dinner? So he'll
That's
do stuff like
cool.
that for me.
That is cool. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
I like too that in your book you took the term PI not just for private investigator,
Yeah.
but for person of impact.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that. Can you speak a little bit more to that? Who's a person of impact?
On the podcast too. That's you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really important for me to let people know that, you don't have to be an attorney or a police officer or a private investigator to still be able to join in and make situations better, make them more safe, help people who have gone through the trauma of experiencing a crime in their lives. And so I think people hang back because they're like, well, I don't know enough. I couldn't do anything. But trying to let people know it really does take all of us. So you can do something as simple as, let's say you've got a widow that lives down the street. Pay attention to cars
Mhm.
parked by her house or in her driveway. And if
Mm-hmm.
you see one that you're not used to, just shoot her a little text and say, hey, I hope that's family visiting you, but I just want to make sure everything's okay. Just
Yeah.
little things like that. Or if you have the financial resources, donate to a local domestic violence shelter.
Mm-hmm.
They always need help. Or volunteer somewhere if you can. Even just sharing a podcast like this one and say, hey, this had some information that I think can benefit all my friends. I'm going to send them all the link.
Mm-hmm.
Just anybody,
Mm-hmm.
anybody can step up and be what I call a different kind of PI, a person
Yeah.
of impact.
I like too that you just said about the neighbor because it was so funny. We have some neighbors that have in their yard, no solicitations over here. But one that's been huge is solar. People are coming through selling the solar panels. And what we've noticed is, and again, because like I said, by day I have another job that works with we hear about this stuff all the time. Particularly this one is Stalking Awareness Month. So we had to wear yellow
Yep.
for stalking awareness. But they brought up the point of, here are these people seeing their solar panel people and no card, no business card, no shirt, nothing to identify that they are who they say they are.
Right.
And so be careful of trusting that this person who they say they are, opening your door for them, letting them in your home. Because even if they're really coming to set a real appointment, they don't ever need to come in your home the first time.
Right.
You don't know them. You don't know who they are. The other thing is, where they say they may be Orkin, but Orkin is pretty good about, even the college students in the summer, they're pretty good about making them wear a shirt to identify them. But what we've seen is there's even no car pulling up. So this person has parked somewhere. I can't see them and
Right.
just been walking down the block. And so what we've started to do too on our neighborhood Facebook page is, hey, there's a person walking through the neighborhood, unidentified, nothing that's marked that says he's
Mhm.
who he says he
That's good.
is, selling solar. Don't open your door because you really don't know who these people are. And it's during a time of day where a lot of people are at work, so you only have a few people at home.
Right.
And we have different age groups. We do have also a lot of elderly that if somebody was to go into their home, nobody would know. And then the other thing, I told a friend of mine, oh, I don't want to get Ring camera. Okay, if you feel that's too expensive, even though I know she spends more than that in a week in coffee, there are some other ones, you know what I mean? There are some other ones that are cheaper, but strictly go by motion that you can also, you don't even have to do the wiring. It's wireless. You can literally get these wireless cameras and
Mhm.
like $25 to put up in different spaces so that you can have motion detected around your home and record and even set a message to even saying you are being recorded. Just people hearing that
Mhm.
sometimes would like them let them back up like,
Mhm.
oh, let me not. And well lit. Like we've had the our home came with the floodlight in the back, but on the side is very dark between our neighbors' houses. So we had somebody come and put up a motion light on the side floodlight so that any motion on that side too will light up the areas. And I know you mentioned that earlier too, Lori, about being in well lit areas, but I just wanted to bring that point up again about in your neighborhood not being so trusted and let all these salespeople come in your house.
Yeah, trust me, I could probably go to a Goodwill or something and find an Orkin shirt.
Mm-hmm.
So, people are, again, they're very good at this
Mhm.
when they're pros, and they know exactly what to tell you. One of the things that I can sometimes have need of in my job is what we call a pretext. If somebody comes and asks me something,
Mhm.
I know exactly what I'm going to tell them. I've already got a reason why I'm there. I've got a reason why I maybe look like I'm trying to hide. So, just be very leery. I loved what you said, that you've got a neighborhood Facebook page. And so you're warning each other.
Mhm.
That's not paranoid. It's really not. That's just good sense. And the
Mm-hmm.
Ring camera or any other brand that you might prefer to that, take the position that you're not only doing that for yourself, you're doing that for everybody around you.
Mhm.
Because
Yes.
if somebody breaks into my neighbor's home and my neighbor doesn't have a Ring camera, well, my Ring camera might have picked up a car
Mhm.
driving past.
Mhm.
So we might have a make and model to be on the lookout for.
Mm-hmm.
Um, write down people's license plate numbers if you think. Now, don't walk right up to their car. You don't want to put yourself in danger. But if you can, if you got some binoculars, or if you can, do the pinch and the zoom and everything on your phone to get to where you can see that stuff is invaluable for police. They cannot be everywhere at all times. you
Yeah.
know, when crimes happen, they will always say, we're putting everything we've got into this. And I know they mean it. But what you got to realize is a lot of them don't got much.
Yeah.
They have very finite resources, they have limited amounts of time, because as soon as they start working my case, what's happening? Another case is
Mhm.
coming up. So if they hit a wall with mine, they're going to be working the new ones.
Mhm.
So, we've got to be able to help them. So, if we can give them information that they can work with, that is just key. And again, that's being that person of impact. And like I said, I don't want you putting yourself at risk. I don't want you hopping in the car and chasing people down. Um, don't walk out and make a big show of taking a picture of their license plate number.
Yeah.
But if you can get that information in a way that doesn't put you at risk, do it and then turn it in. And, bring stuff up when you can in the midst of something. And, worst thing, you might get embarrassed a little bit. And I'll tell a story where I embarrassed myself. It's okay. So I was shopping with my husband at like this kind of home goods type store. And so we had gotten some little things for the house, and it was getting on toward closing. So there weren't very many people there. And we're up at the counter checking out. And all of a sudden, this guy comes in the doors, walks right past the checkouts, goes over to this area. I can not see exactly what he's doing. And then suddenly he goes out. He picks something up and walks out. And so, again, I did not chase him out into the parking lot and tackle him or anything like that. But I told the cashier, I said, "Did you see that man? He just walked in here, picked something up, and took it out without paying for it." She's not bothered by this at all. She just kind of looks over to where I pointed. She looks back at me and says, "Did he pick it up from right there?" I said, yeah. And she said, that place where the package pickup is. Oh, that's a FedEx. Okay, I didn't know you had that in this store. Never mind. But so I was a little embarrassed. Big deal.
Right.
If he had really stolen something,
Yeah.
then that would have been important to get
Yeah.
that information to the police.
So I have a couple of stories. So a few years ago at my church in Richmond, my friend and I we had prepared lunch to eat after church. Like the church wasn't having potluck, but it was a far way to get back home. So there was a reason that we wanted to stay close to the church. So we were sitting we had driven out to do something, but we came back. We were sitting in the parking lot, and there was supposed to be a wedding at the church that night or maybe the next day, but they were supposed to be coming to, set up. So we're sitting there, and I said, that guy doesn't look like he's with the wedding party. And he's actually taking stuff out of the church, not putting it into the church. So we drove, like when he went inside, we drove a little closer, and I did get a picture of his license plate. He was stealing. We had a food pantry, and so there was like a whole freezer full of like meat and stuff. He was stealing it from the church. So we called the police, the sheriff, and we also called the first elder. And when the first elder, he was already on his way. We told him what kind of car it was. He actually did chase him. It's like, that's not what we told him to do. But and the sheriff came, and they actually caught him like that day because we had the license plate, we had a description of the car, and I think they might have run into him with the first elder, and he had actually caught him and like stopped him. So
Wow.
so that's one story that was several years ago, but just a couple of weeks ago, and I really was like, I don't really know what to do. I take this to the police. I was at Publix, and I have to go after this, but I was at Publix, and I was walking the cart back into the store, and I saw this young girl. She was probably 10 or 12, and she had on these super like high block heels. Like she just really was too young to be trying to wear this. And she looked like she was about to fall. So I said, be careful. And then a guy who was walking in front of her, like an older white guy, she was I think she was probably mixed, but African-American. And he turned around, and then he came back to her, and he started holding her hand. And something about that just felt a little off to me. So I was like, I couldn't see. So I was looking, he was, holding her hand, and he like held her hand for a little ways. He didn't like grab her or anything. It wasn't like that. It was just like he was helping her. But then they walked, and he happened to be, there was like a sidewalk, and he was parked on one side of the sidewalk, and I was parked on the other side of the sidewalk, almost like right across from each other. So I was just like, I think I'm going to try to get a picture of his license plate, because something about this feels a little unsettling to me. Mm-hmm. So I went back, and I said, I asked him something. I'm like, I said, she's trying to like be grown or something like that. And he kind of said, he's like, oh, it's my granddaughter, and could be, like whatever. Yeah. So I was like, okay. So then, but when he went out, one way, because he was facing that way. So I had to drive all the way. So I like missed him going out. But then we were going in the same direction, and I saw him like a few blocks down. I'm like, and so I got a picture of the license plate, but then I was just like, I don't know what to do with it. Do I take it to the police? And what do I say? I didn't see him do anything wrong. Not that I'm opposed to giving them the number, but I was just like, well, maybe I'll ask Lori, what do I do with this? Then I got distracted until right now. So
Yeah.
I still have it.
You can also call like an anti-trafficking organization online because they may have a database.
Mhm.
So the local police, if he's not committed any crimes there, they might not know.
Right.
And you know, we think that computers have every bit of information in it. Not every jurisdiction enters everything.
Yeah. Right.
Or you could be typing it in and transpose a couple of the letters. I mean, things happen. So turning that into if the local police are like, yeah, there's nothing we can do, I would turn that into an anti-trafficking group and just say, in
Okay.
case you have a database of known offenders, then
Mhm.
you can say this tip was called in and they can talk to the police.
Okay.
That's great information.
All right. Well, thank you so much. This was
Thank
fantastic.
you.
I really
Yes.
appreciate it. And of course, it'll be, on YouTube now. It takes a little, it's on there, but it does take a little while to process. I don't know.
Okay. I'll check tomorrow and be
Yeah.
sure I put links out
Yes.
to people that follow me.
Yes.
Yes. And I will put the link to your book in the description as well. I did
Thank
drop it. I did drop it in here, but I'll put it in the description as well. And just thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Oh,
Yes. Thank you, Lori.
and it was good to meet you, Onita, and I had a lot of fun.
Yes.
Have a good evening, ladies.
Thank you too, Lori. Good night.